Hi guys, welcome back. Instructor Phil here, and I wanted to do a demo for you guys really quick. I know there's been some confusion in the class about what's happening and what we're doing and why we're doing so many steps, and so I sort of wanted to go over that. Thought I'd do it tonight really quick for you. Okay, so what I've done is where we left off was where did we leave off? I actually deleted the layer by accident. I had my key characters inside that whole row. Let me go ahead and let me just open up the file here. Let me save this scene because I have this prepped here. Turtles Refined number 3, okay? And let me open up the previous file for you really quick. All right, here we go. I just copied and pasted it actually. So here, this is where I left off last time, right? So what I did now is I picked 2 characters in here that I like. You guys only have to pick 1. I'm just going to pick 2 to see if I have some time to refine them a little bit. And I'm going to push and exaggerate their shape. So you saw how I got to this level. I got to this level by, and I have that here, so let me just trim this down here, by picking some of the silhouettes and the shapes that I liked right here, and then I took those and I exaggerated. So I had silhouettes and shapes working rough construction with some gray under that, and I had something to jump from. From there I was able to develop those, and then I was able to go in and basically develop these. Okay, now I'm going to take 2 of the characters that I like here. I'm going to develop them up a little bit more and see where it gets me by pushing and exaggerating shapes. And I'm going to try to be really rough with this to do this demo in a short amount of time. That way I can get it up quicker. Okay, so the first guy that I picked is this guy right here. Okay, so I picked him and I duplicated him 3 times. All right, and I put him in a row there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, lower him down like so. And I'm going to come back and I'm going to draw on top of him and see what I end up with. Okay, so this is a great thing about using Photoshop or Sketchbook Pro is that any of the drawings that I do on top just work really nice. Okay, so let's talk about pushing and exaggerating shapes right now. I have a base for my character that already exists, right? So here's a couple things for me to think about. What happens if I get in here? What if I push his head shape up in here? And then I have his eye sort of like this, and then I have him sort of come down a little bit like so. And then what if I really drop part of that lower part of the mouth there? So let me show you what I just did. I'm going to connect back to this line right here. Okay, from that end I'm going to connect to here, then to sort of come up and through here. And then I'm going to bring this back. Okay, there's sort of my head ball shape in there. All right, I'm going to see a little bit of that other eye, let's say, on this other side right over here. Okay, and I feel really rusty. I was drawing on my sketchbook today and jumping back into digital. I'm just a little out of it for a minute. Okay, there's his little nose, and then I'm going to come down here, and maybe this time I take the jaw, and actually I'm sort of liking the head being pushed up like that, so let me just finish him off real quick. I thought about sketching the jaw like this, maybe thinning it down a little bit and pushing the shape and seeing where it goes. But now that I'm looking at it, I sort of like the way that I had it before. Okay, so there we go. I'll come in here and just sort of get that curve in here. Drop this guy in here. And, okay, so you can see I've started to develop a different face in here. Different feel to this character, okay? And just by squashing his shape a little bit. Seeing where that takes me. Go, maybe he's got a little bit of, turtles have little scales on them, right? So maybe he has some little scales around his nose like so. Maybe I can see part of that other side right there, darken that side in. Okay. Get a little bit more of an eyeball on him. Hold on a minute, let me back up there for a second. I wanted to get that top part of the brow. Sort of comes over, and I just sketched in that eye really quick, so let me make sure I can get it to come out. I wanted him to have a little bump in his forehead here, so the lower part of the eye is going to be like there, and then maybe the other part of the eye is right there. Okay, still a little rough. That's fine for me right now. I like to stay rough in my sketches. Okay, but I've definitely contorted his head. Look at the difference. Look at how I push those shapes. He's totally different right there. Okay. Sorry, I got a little bit of lag because of the recorder going on, and that happens sometimes. So now let's try something with the shell. What if I'm going to arc up his shell a little bit here, okay? So let's take a look at our construction. There's sort of my center line right in here. I can see the shell coming up this way. What if I come in here and I arc this up, and then I push the shell up, and then I just sort of really sort of slam that down a little bit like that. And again, let's take a look at where my center line is. I have the part of the shell that's going to cover his base right there, and I'm going to sort of arc this down, wrap it around here, cover up a little bit, okay? And then if I look here, he's sort of, that's sort of his center line, his gesture of the center line there, okay? All right, and then maybe that side, let me shade that in just a little bit lightly there, okay? Put a couple little details on him, and then let me see where some of his shapes are going to take me in here. I had that sort of spotty whatever elements in there. Let me see if I can get some of that around some of the center there. Okay. And what I like to do at a certain point is I turn off that layer that's underneath right there, and then I just go back and I can focus on the character. Okay, that way I can see which lines I might want to push a little bit darker or whatnot. Okay, and let's just see, let's finish this guy up real quick here. Smaller little details there, maybe he's got a shape in there. Small, a little small, then another large, wrapping over the form a little bit. Okay, alright, cool. And let me take a look at his feet. I was trying to remember what I had with his feet. Bring them back up. So he had small little feet. Maybe I'm going to keep that, oops, drawing on the wrong layer there. Keep that tail sort of coming up. Maybe his is a little bit longer because his face is a little longer. Just squashing and stretching, right? Just seeing how your shapes are going to develop a little bit more and where they take us. Okay. And he had a wooden leg. I might ditch that on this guy now. And just imagine he's got another little leg that's in the back there. Bring that tail back down a little bit. Maybe there's a little... Okay. So there's my first pass at distorting that character a little bit. Okay. Now I'm looking at this guy here. I want to see if I can do the opposite a little bit and see where it takes me. Maybe I might change his eye structure a little bit. Maybe his eyes become a little bit thinner here. Okay. And I was thinking about stretching out his face a little bit. I could move him a teeny bit more, but let me see what I can pull off right now. Let's get that center ball that's in there. He's got that. I don't want to get too close and get a tangency in there, but I want to contort it just a little bit in there. Move his nostrils over a teeny bit more. Okay. Maybe I'm going to end his jaw this time a little bit before. Like I mentioned in the class, some of you guys are at different points in your sketching. I mean, some of you guys need to really focus on your construction and you're behind a little bit. You know, some people are ready to refine the shapes. Some people added nice little themes to their work, you know, so it depends on, you know, where you think you're falling in the class. And if you're, you know, I can't, someone asked me like, well, what exactly is refining, Phil? Well, it's pushing shape, having fun, seeing where your character might take you, you know, and that's not going to change. It's going to stay that way, right? This time, instead of putting that neck, what if I put a real thin neck and make it go wide like that on him and see where that sort of takes this guy? Everybody is refining something different because you all draw differently and have different characters. And there's different drawing levels in the class. So, I mean, that's an important thing to consider, is that you can't just base your work off of somebody else and be like, you know, Phil, tell me exactly what refining is, you know. I mentioned that the student in class said, well, you know, you didn't, I looked on the blog, you didn't say exactly what refining was. Well, come on. Some of you guys have had me before, and you should know what it means to get in there and refine your character and push some of those shapes and develop them and see where you end up, right? You know, you never know what's going to happen, and that's part of it's just going over the drawing and pushing the shapes again and again and seeing where you end up. And sometimes you're not going to be successful, but if you see something that takes you to the next step, that's what's important, right? Okay. So be honest with you, I'm not liking this demo so far because I'm feeling tired. But I wanted to see if I can get something done tonight just real quick. So let's just see. Sometimes if I roughen up and loosen, and I was sketching in my sketchbook, so I'm sort of used to drawing with a couple pens I had earlier. But that's okay. Let's try something else. Okay. Let's get that leg back. All right, and get that other side. And if you're feeling like, nah, it's not going to happen, do this 10 times. If you're not getting what you like and some of the distortion isn't happening the way that you like, do it 10 times. Just go over it again and again and see where it takes you. So I'm not spending too much time on these. I've spent just, barely 4 minutes, 5 minutes on them. Okay? So again, that's where I'm sort of at right now. And now I look at him and I don't like that face. I want to push it a little bit more. I don't mind his eyes being squashed a little bit like that. I don't know if that's the best solution for him. Could look better with a couple teeth in there. Okay. All right. Let's go. Let's do another pass. Let's just keep going. See what I can do maybe different on this guy here. I'm just thinking about what I want to put on. Oops, my antivirus just popped up. Okay, everything's all right. See, that's cool. I like that guy a lot now. I just stretched his face up a little bit. Okay. In fact, I like him a lot. Third time's the charm, right? I look back, I didn't really like those, but you know what? Maybe he just got me loosened up a little bit in here. Yeah, I like that jaw, and then he's got that bite. Maybe he's got a couple old teeth sort of pop up there a little bit. Got a little wart on his chin, let's say. Okay. And let me figure out the neck. I do like that neck, that jaw so much lower that maybe now this can connect to here and sort of come in like that. And then maybe there's a lower little level like that. Like a little bit, teeny bit more. Okay. And then it sort of comes down into here like so. Okay. Putting some little details there, a couple around the nose here. Okay. Yeah, a couple of you guys are on my hit list, man, because I don't like it when a couple of students are like, no, I didn't want to do anything. You didn't put something on the blog or whatever. I'm sorry, but I'm going to be honest. You guys sound like whiny babies. And you need to cut that stuff off because that's not going to fly in anywhere in the field of what you're doing. No one's going to want, you know, somebody who's like, well, you didn't tell me to do this. You got to think for yourself. I did go over stuff with you guys. Maybe I didn't have the demo up there, but you know, that's part of your job going out and working for somebody is going to be your ability to work on your own and jump forward without having someone babysit you or telling you what to do. Okay? Because a couple of people just didn't do any work, and that was sort of like, really, come on, what class are we in? It's not. You should always be doing work or sketching or something and trying to see where you develop to a certain point. So, yeah, I'm going to write a couple of you guys because a couple of you that didn't do anything, I thought that was pretty cheesy. Sorry, but I got to be honest about that. That was bugging me a little bit after today's class because after I walked away and thought about it for a little bit, then it just sort of hit me like, really? So, sorry, I'm going to vent a little bit, guys. I am your instructor. I have that right too. And I have to hold you to a certain caliber to get your work done. And, that's what I have to do. That's fine. I don't care. I step on your feelings. Tough. You need to toughen up a little bit because when you're working out in the field, it's really competitive and, people aren't going to be super nice to you and expect you to be figuring everything out and just be like, oh, here, let me guide you through every step. No, you guys should take that advantage and just work extra hard and think about how bad do you want a position in the industry and how bad do you want to be able to get out there and get working. I'm going to try some other shapes here. Instead of those angled shapes, I'm going to go a little bit rounder on a couple. What I'm going to do is try a little texturing to go off the top and fade it off. So I'm going to get here and get a little bit tighter. And then as I go back down, I'm going to see if I can drop off some of these circle shapes. Okay. Make it a little bit tighter here. Same thing as it wraps around part of that shell. Fade it off a little bit. Okay. So I like that guy. I got a new character out of that. I rounded his shell a little bit. A couple things I was trying to do is you see this angle right here in the back? Okay. I was trying to mimic sort of the opposite of this angle here in the front. Okay. That's why I changed the shell. I was hoping that might guide me through a little bit more. And, maybe let's see what else I can do. Let's squash and stretch. Maybe his hind legs are really fat and they're really big. And then his other legs, let's give him a little tail. I don't even know if turtles have tail, but what the hell, right? And let's go back here to, one thing I want to do, see, I have to make this decision. The neck carries through to here, or I erase part of that and carry the neck all the way through the base right there. And I actually sort of like that line I just put in there. Let me just do this then. Let me keep that line. Let me just erase that upper part. That way I can texture this guy up a little bit. Like his belly, the snakes have that on their belly quite a bit. A little bit of detail that goes in there. Okay, now I'm going to come back in here. So now I'm adjusting his feet a little bit. I'm still going to try to keep him about right there. Okay, so let me just make the rear legs. Got like really thick sort of rear legs in here. And then when he gets up here to the front, which I need to make a little insertion point there for his front legs. Okay. I even want him thinner than that. I want to really push that shape a little bit. So once he gets in here, okay. That's part of like a little bit of a knee since it's a larger shape in there. And then here, just these little smaller feet, little toes. Maybe just walk smaller, I don't know. Why not? Drawing through some of that shape. Okay, that's his other foot there. And then if that one's receding back, let's just get his other one to sort of come back over here. Alright. Sorry to pick on some of you guys, but like I mentioned in the class today, I'm having to lay down the law a little bit on a couple students who aren't doing the work, and I know some of them are capable of doing it. They're not pushing themselves. Okay, so look, that's what am I, 15 minutes into this, right? Well, I started and talked for a little bit, but I have a solution for 15 minutes. I don't like this guy here. Let's go back. Let's draw over him. I'm going to erase him. But I really like this guy here. So my third try, number 3 here. Boom. Love that guy a lot. Changed his shape. Let's look at the difference there. Okay. That's where I was, right? And look at that. I got to totally just played with him a little bit and ended up with something totally different. Just squashing and stretching the shape. So I really like that guy quite a bit there. So let me go back in and see what else I can mess with here. I think I'm just looking at this one. And you know what's funny? Little secret, told you guys this before. Whenever I do anything, it doesn't matter if I'm building, like that, a mech, a robot, whatever I might be building. It just, sometimes things just don't come out the way that I want on my first pass. I've always had that. So that's why I rough and do thumbnails, because I know that that's going to happen, and that's just a normal part of life, right? Okay, let me take this guy right here. Let me move him over a little bit. They're a little squashed together. I want to give myself a little bit more room. Okay, and let me scale them up a little bit. What was the way? There used to be a way in here. Forgot which button you hit. They would scale it. Oh, there it is. So part of me wants to see if I can stretch him a little bit and really contort his face a little bit more. Make him a little bit longer. Okay, so let's do that. I want to go off of that, sort of that same sketch that I had there. So let me just draw. So now I'm drawing on top of a drawing I didn't like, which is okay, right? Sure. So let me thin that down a little bit. Okay, and let me see what I can figure out here now. Okay, so bear with me, guys, and we'll do another one of these and then see if I can wrap this up. I say that, but then I'm going to start to get really into it. That's okay. There we go, off a lasso. Okay, I really wanted to mess with that face here a little bit. Center line, and there maybe he's got a bump here, and that face just sort of protrudes down. I'm not going to talk for a couple minutes. I want to see if I can get focused on this guy and what I can pull up. Okay. Taking some real liberties with the nostrils here because I made it so tight, squeezing part of that shape there, but that's alright. I like that face. It's like a big jaw scoop down there, that lower row. Maybe he's got some teeth in there. See if I can sketch a light tongue in there. All right, cool. Maybe it looks like he's been eating something already. I don't know. Maybe he's one of these people that always have something hanging from his chin, his lip. Maybe he's got a little bit of a goatee. Something. Okay. Yeah, you know what? It's funny. I get back into Sketchbook Pro and then I really start to feel some more of that thick and thin pen quality that I like. And it took me a little bit to get used to it because I was drawing earlier with a pen in my sketchbook and just used to that different feel, the sensitivities. Okay, so that's cool. I like how he's working. I want to do something totally different from the shell. I've been doing the same sort of shell. I'm trying to think what else I could possibly do. It could be just a little bit different. This foot comes back to like there. Maybe I just need to angle it. I don't know. Let me just see what happens if I really slope something back and just take what's here. So I like this part that wraps over. I'm a fan of that because it feels like, you know, I'm wrapping part of the form right in here. You know, there's a cylinder shape in there, so I want to wrap that. But then, hold on, maybe it needs to, what if it does this? What if it comes down? You know, what if like those old Honda hybrids and it covers like the rear tire, so the shell almost drags on the floor a little bit like that? That could possibly work. Let me see if I can. Get that little. Okay. It's like it covers his rear foot, and I could still see a little bit more of his body, and maybe we see just a little bit of the foot in there. There we go. That. Okay. And then, what if we just quick get that other foot in there? All right. And you know what? I like that bump on his head. Maybe he's a little bit more prehistoric or something. All right. I got a tangency there. Uh-oh. That's all right. Let's put one in here like that. And that back a little bit. And then I was trying to imagine if this just went sort of... So my lines are curving this way now. Let's do the opposite of that, right? Let's switch it up a step. So let me see what happens if I just curve this way like so. I'm going to come in here and just really sort of push that shape back in there. And then maybe a good counter shape to him would be, see how that angle that's in there? I was debating, like, what if you had an angle that sort of came down a little bit like that? I'm not sure yet about that, if that's the best solution or not. Let me sketch a little bit. Let me see here. I'm trying to think, because if I do that, that's sort of the same thing. What if I just go opposite? What if I just come in here and I just do this? Just clip his shell a little bit like that. Maybe adjust that center line. Come over and draw through the shapes, maybe back there. That little tail comes out. You know, that's not the best shape. Give me a minute. Let me erase. Let me redo it again. I had another idea. Push that even a little bit more. Like that. Hold on a minute. I'm trying to turn my Cintiq here so I can get my angle of my arm in there. You know what? Now I'm still just not digging that. I think what I want to do is just come in here and just curve the heck out of it and then round it back down like that. That makes him feel a little bit more prehistoric, in my opinion. So there we go. I was thinking this, what if it was like an exoskeleton of a bug? Some turtles have like cracks in them, right? I don't know. Some of you are like, nah, leave it alone. Let's see. Could be like different parts maybe. I don't know, why not? Roll with it, dude. know it's looking different. I'm not quite sure. Maybe then this shape, you know what, maybe it's just some different hard shapes in there. I like that a little bit because it just looks a teeny bit different than what I've had before. And it's just something else for me to work off of. You know, and it might be, maybe there's some texture variations. Maybe that's more hard-edged. Maybe it wraps around a little bit more. That makes him look a little bit more prehistoric. That could work. So what I'm starting to go towards with this is maybe that shell is like, looks sort of like a, yeah, it's sort of like that idea. Like a lobster shell, maybe, you know, where it's like wrapped in different pieces, is sort of wrapping around, you know. Could be. Something different than I've done so far, and I think the shapes are working a little bit better on that, and it gives a little bit of an older feel. In fact, maybe this, what I sketch right there, maybe that's just a separate plate that sort of comes up a little bit, so maybe I can pop that from here and then put that down a little, erase the overlap there, give it some thickness. Okay, put that center line back in there. Light clean that up a little bit. Yeah, so like I was mentioning this before, a couple of you guys I let slide today. No more sliding. Get your work done. I don't care if you take a pass at it in another variation or just keep drawing. I mean, just practice, practice, practice. If I had the time that you guys had, I would fill another. That's what I should do, is I should take I have that jar of pencil tips from sketching, and I should bring that in to show some of you guys what drawing mileage is about and how you have to really dedicate yourself to something that you love to do. And if you do that, what the outcome can be, you know. I don't know what I'm doing right now. I'm just thinking of some other pattern that's a little different that might go along part of the shell. Wraparounds. Okay, so have something. I mean, I like this shell a lot better because it makes him feel like he's more sort of, I think the word would be like crustaceous, you know? It's his little tail hanging in the back or something. And I like, you know, and then he's got the little goatee here. And, you know, the eyes, I like that stretch and the point. He's got the little things hanging from his face, the leaves, maybe he's always eating a lot, and I like it. So again, another pass, okay? So here I'm going to leave this demo here at 34. We're now at 34 minutes, so let me just, you know, raise this guy up, raise that guy up. Hold on a minute, see where we were. See, that's where I was with him, and I thought, you know what, let's distort him. So here, I'm going to, later, dude, I don't like you anymore. Why? Because I just did my fourth version, and my fourth version came out better. Okay, so let me merge this downward. Okay, so look, guys, there's an example right there. So let's turn these guys on here. Hold on a minute, let me move them downward. Okay, move 1 second here. So I move these guys down. That's where I started. That's the original guy I had. Okay, and look, I don't know if you see it, but I can. I mean, there's a huge difference in the way those shapes have been pushed and how I've ended up from here to each one of these. They could actually be somewhat maybe family members or cousins or something. Okay, and yeah, so I mean that's what this is all about, right? Moving forward, developing your characters. You know, look at that face, that squash and stretch. Look at this guy here. A lot of changes happened in those. Okay, real quick in 30. Now I went through 4 versions in 30 minutes. Okay, so last thing I'm gonna do, just to finish this off, is I want to put tone on it. I want to get the character to breathe a little bit to see what's happening in some of the other values. Okay, so real quick, I'm just gonna come over here with my Copic right here, and I'm on a separate layer. I'm gonna select like a gray, which that was way too dark. Let's try about something like this. That's perfect. Okay, just go through his silhouette real fast here. Should have made it a little bit wider for back here, would have been easier. So I'm just doing that to hold it together. I think that works a little bit more efficiently at times, to have something on there than just bland, empty white paper. I hate the white paper. And now this guy. Now I'm going to come in with a couple darks here. Make that a little bit smaller. Erase the white of the eyes in there. Eyes look better when they pop a little bit, right? Actually, my mistake, I went to shade the wrong. I want to shade underneath here like this. Okay. And I'm going to pronounce a little bit of that lip right there. So now I could come in and erase a little bit of that white to get that silhouette shape to pop out just a little bit more. Okay. Cool. Just going to leave it like that. Venture off. Going to go play 10 minutes of Titanfall. That's not really possible. Maybe 30 minutes of Titanfall. And then hit the sack. Alright guys, that's our demo. Okay. That's refining our characters, pushing the shapes, coming up with another variation. If I had to choose now out between these and these, I mean, without a doubt, my favorite, I really like these two up here. I really like the direction they've gone and how I've developed them. So that's the benefit of going over, refining, and pushing your shapes a little bit more. And those of you that are lacking on the construction, focus on the construction, and then try to shoot for some of that personality on your characters, okay? See you guys back in class. Take care. Bye-bye.